Hi everyone, welcome to the third episode of the URC Hot Seat. My name is Maria and I'm part of the social media committee. Introducing our third guest, Alan.
Hello everyone, my name is Alan Rojas Duran. I'm a fourth year business major with a minor in leadership.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the questions. So, how was Alan as a kid?
Um, as a kid, I was a very hyperactive child. I remember that after first grade up until fifth grade, I was always seated separately from the rest of my class just because whether I understood the concepts that were happening in class or not, I just remember that I just wanted to distract my friends, whether joking or, playing around with them. And so honestly, that's whenever someone asks me how was I as a kid, I just give them that example. So, because I'm sure you know me a little bit more personally. I'm
Yeah.
really not hyperactive, but I have a lot of energy. I like making people laugh. Um, Other than that, I really like sports. Soccer, of course, as a kid. I feel it's you gotta know soccer as a kid.
Yeah.
And video games and music. As a kid, that's mainly like my. If only I paid more attention to school, I might have done better. But yeah, that's me as a kid.
Where are you from? When did you immigrate? And do you remember that event?
Yeah, so I was born in El Distrito Federal, which is now known as Mexico City. I don't know exactly where my parents are from. I know from my dad is from Tlaxcala, and his family's there from as well. And my mom, I wouldn't be able to tell you, but they're very close by. And I immigrated here at the age of 3 and 4. I had my fourth birthday party here, if I can remember correctly. And yeah, I kind of remember how I was brought over. So I just remember I was in the car in the backseat with my mom. She told me, "All right, I just need you to go to sleep," kind of like how I am right now. And I had my head was right here, and she was like, "Just go to sleep. All I need you to do is to sleep." Someone in the front seat was driving, but I can't exactly recall who it was. To be honest, I don't know. And I remember, all right, I'm just gonna go to sleep. The engine of the car and everything.
Mhm.
Next thing I know, though, when I wake up, I am in that same car. However, there's a different lady, and I remember I could be confusing it, but I mainly remember waking up in a house. And this house, supposedly, the lady that was with me was my tia, my aunt.
Mhm.
And I remember just looking for my mom immediately, like, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? And when I didn't see her, I start like crying, right? And the lady that said was my aunt, she's like, "Ay, mijo, mijo, like, come over here, come over here." And she took me to the kitchen and she gave me some arroz con leche. And I remember it vividly because it was a type of arroz con leche where you have to open the lid and you could
Mhm.
even see the cinnamon on top of the arroz con leche. And that calmed me down for a bit. But I just remember, I mean, dad wasn't there, mom wasn't there. And I just remember as a kid, just like, where are my parents? Yeah.
Um, can you think of a way that being the oldest sibling and a male has impacted your life either negatively or positively?
Yeah, so the way it's been positively affected is that I serve as a role model for my younger brother and my younger cousin, my younger brother being 13 and my younger cousin being 12. And so uh, the dynamic that my family has, if I could get a little bit personal, um, male role models are there, but they're not 100% there. And I'm
Mhm.
sure in some aspect you can relate.
Yeah.
They're there, of course, but they're more like of a shadow figure at times. And so in my personal case, my little cousin, his father was deported, and his older brother isn't really around. So he looks at me and what I do as an example as what he needs to be, right? And so is my younger brother, because once again, my parents are, thankfully and thank God, are still alive, but they lead different lives. And so he looks at me for guidance and support, and kind of the way it's positive for me is that what I do, I show to them, and I show to them that look, they know what being undocumented means, even though they might not get it 100%, but they know what it means. They know, low income. They are of mixed status where they were both thankfully born here, but I wasn't. So they know everything, and I always tell them something that if you guys fail, it's because I failed you. It's because I wasn't there to be the role model and the male that is guiding them towards success. And so I tell them, no, of course you guys are gonna make it to college. Of course, like why wouldn't you? Like if I made it, of course you are. And you want to know why? Because you have me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it serves as a positive experience because it keeps me on track. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a saint tampoco, but I try. You know, I try. And although it's difficult, I can see it. Both of them are really into boxing now, something which I do. And I always tell them, look, I don't really care like if you exercise or not. I just want you to be healthy. And both of these kids are kind of like wild now. They're boxing and they like it. They're loving it. So it's good to see that they're picking themselves up in school and boxing. But the way it's negatively impacted my life is that I was handed a responsibility from a young age that I wasn't ready for. If I could remember, 15, maybe 16 is when I took on the responsibility of like, damn, like I'm kind of an adult, but not an adult. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was handed the responsibilities of an adult without wanting it, and so it kind of negatively impacted me because I wasn't ready for it. But I'm sure you could relate as well. Sometimes some of us just had to grow up at a different pace, and although I would have loved to, hang out with friends, do this or that, get the things I always wanted, I was more like, no, like this is your path. I'll share a little bit. I was granted a scholarship to Modern Day Catholic, which is a private Catholic high school in Chula Vista. And so I immediately felt like I wasn't allowed to mess up. Like I wasn't allowed to, F it up, you know,
Yeah.
just because if I already got in, which was already for me, I was already like rare, it was rare for me to do that. And I got there with scholarship. So I just felt that there was an immense pressure on me that I just didn't know how to deal with. Thankfully, well, sports kind of alleviated some of that pressure that was built upon me, but it just kind of sucked just because I know that I've always felt, and I'm sure you can relate to this. It's just the pressure,
Yeah.
It's just the pressure that you're not ready for, but you're just given and you grow up with it. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Oftentimes, men's mental health is often overlooked. In your experience, how does expectations around masculinity influence how you express emotions or seek help when it comes to mental health?
Um, I don't want to speak for all of the, Mexican American community, but um, I want to say like a lot of maybe the expectations as a male is that if school doesn't work out, you're kind of expected to be working
Mm-hmm.
maybe 24/7. If it's not construction, it's other jobs that require manual physical labor. Um, so that's an expectation of masculinity, because as a guy, that's what I'm supposed to do. In that aspect, though, how it influences how I express my emotions or how it comes to seeking help, honestly, you are kind of expected not really to. And actually, this is a question that I'm actually a little bit not passionate for, but I really like talking about it because um, I know some viewers may not like relate or agree, but as a man, you're kind of just you gotta suck it up, you know. You kind of gotta suck it up, not because you want to, but because it's expected of you. Um, in my family, my mom will come to me with a problem. My brother will come to me with a problem. My younger cousin comes to me with a problem, but I can't really talk about my own problems. It's up to me to kind of know how to deal with it. And although I do have friends that I can talk about, I only tell them the superficial things. I don't really talk to them about, like, damn, like today was just not it. Today I just didn't feel like getting out of bed. Today I just didn't feel like smiling. But that's just kind of how you grow up. You kind of grow up thinking that it is what it is. We just hope the next day's a little bit better. So because we kind of grow up just kind of having to suck it up, and after a while, it does become too much that it causes us to self implode. You know. So yeah, that's how I answer that.
Thank you for sharing. How does being undocumented affect your mental health? Are there any specific challenges that make it harder for you to secure or seek help?
No, yeah. I mean, being undocumented messes with your mental health on a daily because you're reminded daily that you're just not a regular person. whether, especially around election time, I'm sure you could relate too. You're just like, damn, like whoever comes into office, we know that it's either going to be good or bad, or et cetera, et cetera. We just want to know what's going to happen to us. We can't even vote properly. We can't even support the person we want to support because we can't. And then that's how, especially during election years, it's a constant reminder. Oh, did you watch the debate or this or that? I'm like, not really, because why? Regardless of who gets chosen, all I care really is for me and my community, what happens to us.
Are there any specific challenges that make it harder
Yeah,
to feel secure or seek support?
that same thing. Just reminded daily, and just like even small things like a job or internships. I don't even sometimes even bother looking at them, just because I know I won't even be able to get in, just because it needs a social security. But yeah, honestly, it's just a daily thing, but you learn to cope with it after a while. You don't necessarily solve it, but you definitely cope with it.
You mentioned that nativity prep helped you feel prepared for college. Can you describe how?
No, yeah. Nativity Prep is a middle school that helps low income, first generation, undocumented population. And what they do is they kind of are in a contract with you from middle school, high school, community college/college. So these people, oh my God, angels sent from heaven. Because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't gotten into modern day, because they're the ones that helped me prepare for the exams, gave me the education I needed, the resources, tools. I remember Monday through Friday was from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Just imagine, I saw my friends more than I saw my parents to a certain extent. I would just get home, I would eat, mess around for a little bit, do homework, and then bed. And that's how it was. That's how it was. And even during the summer, we only had 4 weeks of break. We had 2 weeks at the beginning, and then it was summer school, and then it was 2 weeks of break towards the end. So that helped me prepare for high school. And once I was in high school, they had something called the Graduate Support Program. Students that had already graduated come back at least once a week, and they're just kind of checking in that you're doing okay, help you do your applications towards colleges, make sure you're on the right track. How are your grades? How are you doing? How's home? Just making sure you're okay. And then once you're in, like, first of all, I cannot emphasize that they help you. They literally hold your hand to fill out the college applications. They'll spend time. They have professionals that help you tailor like your application a little bit better. And once you're in, they continue to help you. They don't require you to come anymore once a week, but they still kind of check up on you. How are you doing? How's this and that? They send us care packages during Halloween and Christmas with like supplies that a college student would need. And they also give scholarships. So if you apply to the scholarship for college, you get your tuition paid for, which is a considerable amount of money. So I cannot emphasize enough how much they helped me.
Looking back on your journey, what are you most proud of?
Honestly, making it into state. If I could like share a story with you, I remember when I got into Grossmont, it felt like, okay, it's expected. Like,
Yeah.
like I got this community college. It's not college, but it's cheaper, it's more affordable, and it fits right with my schedule. So I was like, okay. And in my head, I remember, look, as long as I'm done with community college, I at least have an associate's. I at least can do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
But getting into state, it was just kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It was just like shit. Like, sorry, like damn, I made it in. Like I did it, and I can really only have myself. To not maybe just myself, but it was through my own hard work. And I'm really happy that I'm here because I've done a lot of good for my community, and I'm prepping myself for the future.
Would you like to share any advice or words of affirmation for other undocumented students struggling with self doubt and struggles?
Quote that I have, and when I say this, I'm not exactly the most religious person, but well, basically, let me share the quote. The quote says, "Don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one." As a undocumented student, your whole life is hard.
Yeah.
Your whole life is just Jesus. And you definitely feel different. Imposter syndrome kicks in. You sometimes even being a student isn't your first responsibility. Whether you got to be the second parent of the household, whether you got to be the parent of the household. You're a tutor, you're a mentor, you're working. Some of us are parents. And so you sometimes student comes second, third, sometimes even fourth, and so we get used that it's difficult. We get used that it's not easy, but yet somehow, for some for God-forsaken reason, we make it in. Somehow we just make it work, and we've always. I know that the students here at the center have always made it work, even though it's cost us sleep, cost us money, nights of uncertainty. We're still here, and that's why I love that quote. Just because life isn't easy, and don't pray that it's easy. Just pray that you have the strength and that you've built up the strength to endure when difficult things come your way.
We're going to move on to our second segment, Instagram speed questions, where our Instagram viewers ask some questions that they would like Alan to answer. First question: where do you see yourself in 2 to 5 years? Whether it be personally, career, or school.
I would have ideally in 2 years, of course, loved to have finished my bachelor's and, hopefully, God willing, everything goes okay. But then I kind of see myself maybe starting my own consulting firm where I'm able to bring college level education to small businesses that maybe were started out of a passion that people had, whether it's a restaurant or whether, stuff like a taco shop or fruteria, small businesses that were, like I said, started from a passion, but that don't necessarily have the education required to keep them afloat. I don't know if you know, but 80% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. Because I believe I'm butchering this, I know, but 60% fail within the first two, and 80% fail within the first five. So, and I've seen it happen, and so which is why I want to bring college level education that I know I have built a reputation for and bring it to them. And that's my 2 to 5 year plan. But I also see myself working with my community. I definitely don't want to stop helping my community just because I know the difference that one person or an institution can make on a single person. I know because I'm a living proof of that.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's helping them with money, whether it's helping them with tutoring, mentoring, I just see myself continuing doing that. And also just on the side as another side hustle, I kind of want to build a kind of brand for myself, whether it's like kind of streaming or doing something through YouTube, just so that I build up a portfolio that I can bring up to other businesses that, hey, I'm not necessarily working, but I'm doing something that involves business, which is my own brand. So that's 2 5 year plan, three things, but yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you.
and doing my master's, consultant.
Okay. What was the biggest challenge you faced your first year of college as an undocumented student?
Ooh, it was imposter syndrome, 100%. It just felt like anything and everything will go wrong like this. Just because when I finally made it to San Diego State after like 3 years at community college, I just felt like this isn't real. I know something's gonna happen where I'm gonna be either kicked out, asked to leave, and that really messed with my head, and it led me to be, not doing good at all on my first semester.
Can you share how you have advocated for your community?
Yeah, of course. So, okay, to begin, I'm part of the Undocumented Research Center. I've been here since I started my first day at state. I've loved it. I don't want to leave. I feel a strong passion towards what I do, and I hope that wherever life takes me, I continue doing something like this. Also, currently a mentor, and it's a mentor to incoming transfer students and freshmen. And these are students that would typically need that extra help, to ensure they remain here and that they succeed here, because not every student that comes in is the same. Some
Yes.
students require a little bit more support, and I'm glad to be doing that through the SOAR mentor program. I'm also, I play a minor part in the student organization Education Without Borders, and Education Without Borders is basically what it means: bringing education, college level education, to students that typically wouldn't know about San Diego State and all of the programs and resources that it can offer. Basically, helping students believe, and their parents, which is also important, because students will just retain information that they care about, but parents need information that they need to know. And so that's what I do in EWB, whether that's tabling, going to schools, and offering the services and yeah, services that we offer. And from the top of my head, that's and I also sit on my committee for my middle school. They asked me to be part of the advancement committee. Kind of what can we do to bring more sponsors so that more students can be helped? Yeah,
What is your top advice for incoming undocumented students at SDSU?
definitely build a strong support network. Your support network is going to be everything. These are going to be the people that when you fall, they'll be right there to pick you back up. I'm thankful that the URC are those people for me, especially our director, Cynthia Torres. Um, yeah, without her, who knows where I would be. Anytime any problem regarding school comes up, she's my go-to person, and I've developed a relationship with her where I could just pop into her office. Hey, Cynthia, you got 10 minutes? And if she'll be busy and she'll be like, all right, come in, come in. I'm in a meeting here. Let me, and she'll just hear me out for 2 5 minutes. What can we do right now? All right, but we'll have a good meeting later. So definitely have a good support system, but also not to ask for help. Not to ask for help, especially if you're a male, a guy. Definitely know when you need to ask for help, because eventually there's going to come a time where you believe that you can do it all yourself, and you're going to be met with an impossible wall that you just can't get over, and you're going to need to realize that, you know what, I do need help. And whether it's mental health, whether it's tutoring, even like financial help, asking the economic crisis response team for any sort of help, you're not alone. And as much as it may feel, you have people that care for you and actually want you to win. So which is why I advocate for a strong support network. It's definitely not going to be easy, but most importantly, you're going to fail, you know and you're gonna fail many times. You're gonna fall, and the imposter syndrome is definitely gonna kick in. But kind of just know how to pick yourself back up. Yeah.
Thank you. Last question. What's your favorite anime of all time?
Oh my
The
god.
audience wants to know.
Of course, I will always rep Attack on Titan. I do not shut up about it. She knows. Everybody at the center knows. Whenever I talk to someone and we get to shows, I'm like, "Have you seen Attack on Titan?" And if they have, I will nerd out about it for like the whole time that we're together. But if they haven't, I'm like, "All right, you're gonna need to watch at least 2 episodes tonight, like tonight. I'm gonna be bothering you. I'm gonna be pestering you. I'm gonna be like, hey, did you watch it? Look, I don't even want to talk anything about it just because I don't want to spoil anything. But just know that it is a masterpiece. You will not regret it. And if you do, you could hold me accountable, right? Just watch it. Please do yourself a favor. Attack on Titan.
Okay. Thank you so much for opening up and allowing us to learn a little bit more about yourself, as well as shining light on very important topics like imposter syndrome, men's mental health that's often overlooked. Your story is very inspiring. You're a very strong person, very dedicated person, which I admire a lot. And I can't wait to see all the goals that you have for yourself play out.
Thank you.
Complete our third episode of the URC Hot Seat. I'll see you guys next week. Stay tuned for our next guest. Bye.